Okay, let's try this again. Let's try this again. Let me switch that. There we go. Alrighty. Let's see if this will work this time. Sorry about that, guys. We'll wait till some more folks pop on here. Let's see what the deal is. There we go. Okay, I think we got it now. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Hi. Hello, hello. Hi. Happy Friday. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me, guys. Hello, hello. Hi. Sorry, we got kicked off. Like it stopped streaming. Yes, you can. Oh, yes, can hear you. Yay. Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate that. Hello, everyone. Hello from Nebraska, Maria. Hello, hello, everybody. Popping right on in there. Sorry, we got cut off. Thank you, guys. Thank you for letting me know you can hear me. Fantastic. I'm excited about today's live because that means I'm deconstructing some stuff. You won't see my face today because I'm having some tech issues with my streaming software. So I'm streaming live from my phone. And we're just going to have to make it work from there. Hello, hi. So glad that you guys are joining me. We're going to wait just a few and let some folks kind of catch up. Love this paper pad. Yay. Hey, Tracy, what's going on? We got Bob and Carol and Jen and Maria and Kristen and everyone. Hello. Tracy, I picked this up at Tuesday morning, although I had been eyeballing it long before I found it at Tuesday morning. And I was going to use it for another travel project and I never did. But this is going to be for a travel project for sure because it's travel theme. I can't wait to see it. Hey, Heather, what's going on? From sunny and hot Arizona. I believe it. Yeah, I like the color scheme too. I love all the blues and the greens. It's going to be nice. And I've already actually have used some of the papers in here and for other projects that are not travel theme. Yes. Ariel, rest in peace Tuesday morning for some people. Absolutely. Hello, everybody. Hello from France. Hello. Hey, Gloria. What's going on? So glad you guys are joining me today on Friday Live. I meant to announce the theme of the Friday Lives going for the next couple of weeks or so, and I've been inundated and swamped with a bunch of projects, and I'm hoping now I'm able to sort of breathe a little bit. Heather says, worked a Tuesday morning part-time before COVID hit. They shut down. I had to resign. Oh, that's really sad, Heather. I hate to hear that. I hate to hear that. So that is the case with so many people. Yeah, I can understand. Hey, Millie, what's going on? I can understand not feeling safe going into work. I know a lot of people are having to make that decision daily to go to work. And now, of course, with the start of the school year, that's also another thing. So I'm going to hang out for just a minute or so more as more people pop on. Hello, everybody. If I didn't say hi to you already, hello, hello. We're working with another 12 by 12 paper pad. Today, we're going to deconstruct this puppy. We're going to take everything out, and I'm going to get ready to make a kit for an upcoming vacation, which I'll talk to you guys about in just a second. And then I'm going to show you what format I'm going to actually do this particular project in, which I think from going forward, I'll probably do my travel themed layouts in a smaller format, but I'll go through that in just a second. Barb is retired, of course. Heather's working her full-time job at home. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. Hello. So glad that you're here on this Friday. It is very hot here in Texas, and I think at some point this weekend we'll probably go swimming. Enjoy a little bit of that, what limited activities we can do. Hey, Mandy, what's going on? And Marilyn. So yeah, good sunny day today, for sure. Good sunny day. Alrighty, so I'm going to get started. Unfortunately, you won't see my face today in this live because I'm having some problems with my streaming software. and connecting to my phone. So I'm streaming from my phone. So you'll see my desktop throughout today. We'll probably go for about an hour or so today. This is going to be recorded. So if you want to go back and rewatch this, it will be in the playlist. Hey, Etienne, what's going on? It'll be in the playlist for my lives. Okay. Oh, Heather, thank you. But I'm hoping to resolve it. I think I know what the problem is with the not connecting. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of investigating so that you guys can see my face next time. Alrighty. Howdy from the Wildfire, Colorado. Oh my goodness. Hi. Hey, Maria from Chula Vista. I used to live in Chula Vista, Maria, many years ago. Many years ago. Alrighty. So I'm starting up from paper pad to kit, the series that I started when I first started doing the Friday Lives on the Victoria Marie Facebook group. Of course, we moved the lives here to the YouTube channel so that it'll be more accessible to everybody. And what I want to do today, or over the next couple of weeks, is I want to get a travel album set up, semi-set up, for a vacation that my family and I are going to take in a few weeks. And we have made a conscious decision to take a vacation that's going to be mainly outdoors, where we're not indoors a lot for safety reasons. We didn't know if we were going to actually do a vacation this year. Our major vacation this year was to go to Disney World for Christmas, and that has been postponed for now, as I don't want to travel to Florida or anything. But we did want to go somewhere, and we start looking at potential vacations that require us to spend a lot of time outside. So lots of nature and that type of thing. So we are going to be headed to Hot Springs, Arkansas. And I'm kind of excited about this in the fact that there's a lot of beautiful nature type things. If you have never been to Arkansas, it is a very beautiful state. And I've been through Arkansas a few times over the years, but have never been to Hot Springs. And there's kind of quirky, kind of really cool things that you can do in Hot Springs, which is really fun. So we're going to go to the Gangster Museum, and we're going to go do some outdoor type things. Every place that we're going to eat or to visit, very minimal indoor activity, but every place that we're going, we've confirmed that in fact masks are required and 6 feet apart. The restaurants are requiring masks unless you're eating or drinking, and then otherwise you have to put your mask on. The museums are requiring masks and 6 feet apart. So we have a whole travel plan. And what I thought I would do is document this particular vacation in a citrus twist life crafted album. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this album. I'm going to go through this in a little bit more detail. But this is kind of like a traveler's notebook size album, and it has rings in it. And I was seeing a lot of people use this album, and I absolutely love the idea of this. I would typically make my own traveler's notebook just using cardstock, but I found that it's not as stable and sturdy as a regular album. But I also didn't want to do a 12 by 12 album. And so I thought either 6 by 8 or this size, which is roughly 6.5 by 9.25. So I'll go back to this in just a second. But I also thought this would be a great opportunity for me to deconstruct an entire paper pad all together. So if you caught this series on my Victoria Marie Facebook group several weeks ago, when the pandemic hit and I started doing this live, I went and I totally deconstructed an entire kit. And I don't remember what I did with the covers of those kits. I'm going to do the same thing with this with this My Mind's Eye World Traveler kit. It has lots of beautiful papers. I love the color scheme. I've used some of these papers already for other projects, for non-travel related projects. But I thought what I would do is go through and pick out the papers that I think I'll use. So lots of gorgeous papers. And get them cut up and prepped to create layouts in my life crafted album. Okay, some of them I probably want to keep whole, 12 by 12. Like this map one looks really cool to keep all together, maybe doing a more extensive travel layout, I don't know, or maybe cut off certain sections of it. I'm not quite sure yet what I'm going to do with that. But the idea behind this is sort of a challenge to yourself. How many of you have so many 12 by 12 pads, or that's my favorite pattern in this whole collection, 12 by 12 pads, or you have 6 by 6, or whatever you have in your stash of paper pads that maybe you're not using, or you only take a few pieces out of it and maybe you don't use the rest of the paper pad. Well, I'm going to challenge you to grab a 12 by 12 or whatever you have. It doesn't have to be 12 by 12. It could be a 6 by 6, 8 by 8, 8 by 6, whatever you have, and deconstruct it. And what we're going to do over the course of the series is take the pad, deconstruct, and what I mean by that is we're going to pull all the papers out of the pad. We're going to coordinate them. And the cool thing about using a paper pad is that all of the papers coordinate together, which is great, but you're going to isolate certain papers and you're going to set it up so that you're designating them for certain projects. So I know this is travel themed, so I would typically use it for travel, or there could be some patterns here that I would use on a regular layout. Either way, I want to totally deconstruct this so that I put it in a usable form. The next part of this is to pull in some embellishments. So next week, you're going to see me pull in some embellishments, so you want to stay tuned for that, so that I can make a complete kit. And then the third week, I'm going to show you how I'm going to set up the album, kind of like the method that Allie Edward uses for her December daily, to set up the album beforehand, because what happens is I go on vacation and I want to do a scrapbook project and I take all the pictures and I come back and I do nothing with those photos or those stories. So I want to have it all set up so that when I come back from vacation, I just pop my photos in, journal, and I'm done. Okay, and then do a little bit of embellishing and I'm done. So if I have an album that's already dedicated to it, that's what I'm going to do. So week 1, we're going to which is today, we're going to deconstruct it. Week 2, we're going to add in embellishments. And week 3, I'm going to go through my album setup and I'm going to talk about my story plan. I will not be taking this with me to our trip because I want to completely unplug and I want to just focus on the trip and not do any scrapbooking or anything like that. I don't even think I'll have time for that. I just want to sleep and chill and go see some stuff. But when I get back, I'll be able to put this album together and I'm going to share it in a series of process videos when we get back from our vacation. So this is going to happen over the course of a few weeks. We're not going on vacation until September anyway. So here's the paper pad. Now let me get back to this album because I know that people will probably have questions about this album. This album is by Citrus Twist. It's from their Life Crafted line. It retails for about $21.95. And the measurements are 6.5 by 9 1/4. And the spine is make sure that I get that right. Yes, 6.5 by 9 1/4. I got mixed up. And the spine is about 1.75 inches wide. So it's a nice spine. It also has this really nice sort of gold label holder here, the little metal parts of that. Very, very pretty. And then the cool thing about it is that it has rings. Now, this album has 6 rings and it comes with page protectors, which is great. So typically you'll get 15 page protectors. At the time that I got this album, it was gifted to me by Citrus Twist for a project that I worked on for them. And so I had some extras that they sent me. But you'll get 15, which is enough to create 30 pages. So if you want to do front to back. So you have the full size sheet here. And this is, let me see, what size is this? This is roughly close to 4.5 roughly by a little bit over 8. 5, I guess it's like up to, you can put up to 5 by 8 1/4 inches. So here you have your full. Then you have a divided one, and all their measurements and specifications are on their website. So don't feel like you have to like write this down. Yes, it's a Traveler's Notebook size pages. Yep, Traveler's Notebook size pages. All right, so they have the divided pockets, which I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see if I can pull something dark here so you can see the divided pages. Nope. Do I have a dark? Do I have something solid? I'm trying to see if I have something solid so you can see the divided pages. I don't know. Will that work? No, that won't work. Okay. Anyway, this is a divided pocket with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 2 by 2 pockets. So I don't know if you can see that or not. Okay. Then they have, this is Traveler's Notebook size, by the way, for those of you who are asking. Then you have your 2 pocket 3 by 4. Okay. Then there is this pocket, which I want to say this top is a 4x6 here at the top. And then you have this smaller pocket here that you can put like embellishments or whatnot, but you can fit a 4x6 photo here or whatever you want to fit in that pocket. So 6 rings. It comes with 15 pocket page protectors that you can use. What else was I going to say about this? It comes in a variety of colors. They sent me, or I was asked to select a color, so I picked gray. And they have so many other colors as well. They're just beautiful albums. It's a linen covered album, very nice. Great spine, great place to put a date, year, or whatever the topic is of your album. And I think something like this, and again, it measures 6.5 by 9.25. I think something like this is perfect for scrapbook projects like vacations or brag books or mini album options. If you like traveler's notebooks, but you don't particularly care for the ones that you just make out of cardstock without any type of hardcover or something to it, then you'll probably like this. I just love the idea of sort of scaling it down. And it forces me to really focus on the stories that I feel will really document my travel experience. So this is what I'm going to use. Let's see, Jen says, working on my life crafted album, Miami trip right now, doing the multi-photo challenge on the online group. Fantastic. Hey, Steph, what's going on? It is traveler size notebook pages, yes. Now this album is from Citrus Twist. So you can go to citrustwist.com and they have a multitude of colors in this album style. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it, love it. Yes. Studio Calico has their own album that's somewhat similar to this, but I think theirs is bigger. I think theirs might be slightly bigger. But this particular one is from Citrus Twist. Alrighty, so that's kind of my starting point for this project. Now the reason why, again, I'm using this because I just want something smaller. I don't desire to document this trip in a 12 by 12 album, and plus I'm really trying to do more smaller vacation albums and reserving my 12 by 12 albums for more extended stories. Stories that have lots of photos. Like my Disney album's 12 by 12. The next Disney trip that we have will probably be this size because I want to focus, since we're going over the holidays, I want to make sure that I focus on the holiday aspect of our trip. Alrighty, so this is the album that I'm using. Again, citrustwist.com. It measures 6.5 by 9.25. Let's go ahead and dig into this paper pad. First thing you want to do when you're going to deconstruct your paper pad is, of course, pick a paper pad that you want to deconstruct. Now, for years, I had tons and tons of paper pads in my stash and I wasn't using them. And even now, I probably have about, I'd say maybe 6 or 7 paper pads in my stash. Before, I used to have well over 50 plus paper pads. And that's probably at the very low end. I know some people who have way more than I do. And others may find this to be a very daunting task. But the idea is that we're not just going to deconstruct this just to deconstruct it. We're going to deconstruct it so we can use the papers in here. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start taking papers out. And I also have my scraps that I want to involve in this process. So I'm going to get to those here in just a second. Move these out the way. So I'm just going to start taking papers out. And I'm going to coordinate them. Typically, if I was going to do a scrapbook kit with this, then I would make little stacks of papers, right? So I would coordinate certain papers together to make a scrapbook layout, like an 8.5 by 11 or 12 by 12 layout. So depending on how many papers you use, you might put together little stacks that feature maybe 3 pattern papers, 4 or 5 pattern papers. And the idea is that later on, you're going to make a kit out of all of these stacks. You can make multiple kits or maybe one giganto kit. Maybe you make a mini kit where you have enough in there for just one layout. Maybe you make sort of a mid-size kit where you have enough in your kit for 2 to 3 layouts. Or maybe you make a large kit where you can make 5, 7, 8, 10 layouts from the kit. So if I were going to use this to make traditional layouts, then what I would do is I would put together a stack of papers. So this is a really good example. What I'm looking for is variation in pattern and variation in color. And since we're using a paper pad, then we know that all the colors coordinate together, right? So I know the orange goes with the blue, and then I've got this grid paper here that would act as a really good solid foundation. So I would put these three together, put some embellishments with it, and then I have a page kit ready to go from this paper pad, okay? So that's one possibility. Let me show you another example of that. So I'm looking through the paper pad. Say I'm going to make another stack for another layout. So maybe I grab this grid pattern paper, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look through to see what else could go with that I could possibly make a page from. So maybe I'm going to take this map. That'd be really fun to put together. Again, I don't have to worry about the colors because I know they all coordinate together. And then maybe now I'm looking for something that has a bit more of a different pattern to it. So I'm looking through my little kit here, or my paper pad. And maybe I want to add a little bit of green, excuse me, with that. So now I just have another set. Now I can add more papers to this, right? I don't just need 3. What if I want to make a scrapbook project, or I want to have enough papers in my kit to make 2 or 3 pages, or I like using a lot of pattern papers? I could put all of these papers together. I know they already coordinate, so I don't have to worry about it because it comes from the same paper pad, but I can put all of these together. I could also isolate colors, maybe make something a little bit more monotone. So maybe I want to take out the green and the yellow and the pink, and I just want papers that have more of a blue color story to it. I know that green coordinates with blue, so maybe I pop in green and I'm working with those colors, right? So you can mix and match and have a little bit of fun. Have a little bit of fun with the papers out of your paper pad. Now, for my particular process, what I want to do is I want to take my papers and I want to trim them down so that I have papers ready to go for my album. And since I'm not doing an 8.5 by 11 or a 12 by 12, I'm doing this album, then I want to make sure that I have papers that I can use in full for like this pocket protector. I also want to make sure I've got some papers cut out that I can use that are 2 by 2, and then these here that are 3 by 4, and then 4 by 6. And so I could use those pattern papers as a base for potential embellishing or adding photos or stamping and that type of thing. Okay. Alrighty. So I'm just going to go ahead and completely deconstruct this because I know that I'm going to be cutting up a lot of this paper. So I am going to rip this apart. Let's take off that cover. Bam. Done. Right? Using our stuff. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the papers together that have a similar design, and I'm going to make my own little traveler's notebook kits out of this paper pad. So I'm putting these papers together so I know what I'm working with here. Taking this all apart. Now some of you may be hyperventilating, but that's okay. You may be saying, oh my God, Victoria, you're taking the entire paper pad apart. We are. You buy the product, use the product. It's really that simple, right? Don't hoard, just use it. I'm gonna take all of this apart. Again, if I was doing a 12 by 12 kits or something like this, then I would, as I'm tearing papers out, I would coordinate papers together to make little paper kits. And then later on, next week, what we're going to do is we're going to add embellishments. I'm going to dig through my stash. I'm going to find every single travel-themed embellishment that I have. I've been sort of collecting them. Here we go. Just taking that right on out. Now, the papers that don't have the duplicates, I'm just kind of putting those by like color story. Love this navy blue. It's gorgeous. There we go. Love it, love it, love it. Now, I am interested in the papers that have smaller designs because those will work well for my 3 by 4 pockets, right? Let's get some of that glue off. Ah, so satisfying. Get all of this out. Okay. we've come to the end. So I'm going to put these papers, so all my blues together. Get this so I know what I'm working with here. Now for those of you who are joining me, I'm putting together a kit for an album that I'm creating for an upcoming vacation. And what I've done is I'm completely deconstructing a 12 by 12 paper pad to use for an album that's going to be a traveler's notebook size paper pad. Now, my family and I are going to be driving, and so I'm really happy to see like this pattern paper that has like Route 66 and all those other highway type of signs and markers, because that's fun. I can definitely use that as I'm documenting our drive there. Now, I live in Texas, so it won't take us very long to get there. It's only like a 5-hour drive. Now, these papers that have these fun patterns here, I might not cut these up like 3 by 4 or 4 by 6. What I might do, however, is save this, because these are, well, not all of it. These are little tickets here, like luggage tags and that type of thing. And even though we're not flying, some of these might look cute on a layout, but I do want to save one of these as a 12 by 12 because we will be flying some next year. Well, I'll take that back. The plan is to fly next year to some places. That may not happen, but I really like this. So I might go through and fussy cut or do something. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet, but I may use some of these in this project. So we'll see. So I'm going to set that to the side. But pattern papers like that have an opportunity for fussy cutting, I want to set those aside too. Like here's another one. I'm not going to London or Paris or anything like that, or Amsterdam. So I might not use this particular pattern paper. At least, you know, I'm not going to those places anytime soon. So, but I'll keep it in my stash. All right, let me get my orange together. There we go. This is a completely satisfying process. All my papers that have more of a white background, I'm going to put those together. Hot air balloons, really fun. I love this paper pad. Love it, love it. Picked it up at Tuesday morning. The one with the cameras will definitely go into this notebook for sure. I'm going to put my grid with that too. Alrighty, so I have my white-based designs that mainly have that white space to it. I've got all my orange papers, all of my green, lots of blue in this collection, which I love, and there's pattern paper options for fussy cutting and all those good things, so I love that. Then I have all of my pink, and you can do this whether or not you're doing a traveler's notebook style album or not. You can go ahead, deconstruct the paper pad, coordinate it by color, and then go through and pick which papers you want for whatever projects that you're working on. Hey Carol, what's going on? Yeah, San Antonio is three hours away from Fort Worth. Yeah, absolutely. I love this paper pack as well. It's gorgeous. Alrighty, so as I mentioned earlier, I have used this paper pad before. So I'm just going to take some scraps and I'm going to coordinate my scraps again based on my little color combos. So I have my pinks and my oranges. And if you feel so inclined, grab a paper pad and deconstruct it. Why not? Get all those together. This will go with this one. This will go with my blues. Put all those scrap pieces in there. My orange and my green and my pink. There's not too much pink where it's overwhelming in this particular collection. And now, there. Okay. Now, paper pad, done. Okay, all gone, no longer a paper pad. Now we have usable pieces of paper that we're going to actually do something with. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create a set of 3x4 pocket cards, and I want to vary the patterns a bit. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and start that process, and I'll finish the process off camera because we don't want to be here all day watching me cut up paper. So 3x4 pocket cards, and what I'm looking for is a variation of patterns that I can use. So I think to start out with, I might do something like maybe 4 patterns of each design. And you know what? During this process, you might change your mind about what you want, and you may not use the entire paper pad for your particular project. You may mix it up with something else that you may have in your stash. You can pair it with maybe a kit that you subscribe to every month, and if the papers coordinate with that kit, go ahead and add it in there. That's another way to use up your paper pad, right? Okay, so I'm going to get a few of these pink and white stripes. I'm starting with my scraps first before I cut into whole papers. Okay, now this is part 1. Next week we're going to talk about embellishing, or embellishments. What embellishments I'm going to coordinate with this kit. And some of them are from this collection, and some of them are not. I'm going to, actually, while I have this out, I'm going to go ahead and do a 4x6. So that way I have some options for options for sizes. Okay, so that worked out pretty well. There we go. Starting with my pinks, I have this map one that I thought would work really cool. So let's go ahead and do a couple of 4x6s for that. So you see where I'm going with this? You can do this for your pocket layouts if you want to. Those of you who do Project Life, you can go through, deconstruct a paper pad, set up a kit that you work for the entire month, right? We've got fall coming up, we've got Halloween coming up, Christmas coming up, whatever. There's other holidays, there's like 20 some odd holidays and observance between now and the beginning of the year. So, you know, whatever it is that you're down with, or whatever your theme is for your scrapbooking, then you can go ahead and start setting up some kits for that, so you're good to go. And I would recommend that you do it now. You know, why not? If you've got a little extra time, or you're creatively stumped, go ahead and start doing this process now. There we go. So I've got 4x6 and 3x3s. Now, I know that these sizes will work in the Citrus Twist album because I've tested them out. And so before you go, when you cut it up, and you are, if you're doing a pocket scrapbook, go ahead and test one first to see if it'll fit. Okay, and if it doesn't, then you can just adjust it accordingly. Now, I still have the remainder of these pinks left over. Okay, so I may come back to that for a different size in just a moment. All right, now I've got this blue situation. So I've got my pink, good to go. Alrighty, now I've got some blues. There we go, and I'm going to get to the larger pockets here in just a second. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of determining what size I want these to be based on how big my scraps are. Okay, I'm going to do a nice little sampling of my blue pattern paper. Let's get a 4x6 going on with that. My approach to this travel album is to make sure that, one, this vacation gets documented, and in whatever way that I can do that, that makes it easy, then that's what I want to do. Okay, and if that means prepping my pages beforehand, and prepping the pages beforehand doesn't necessarily mean that, I'm going to embellish beforehand either, because I want to leave part of that process when I'm actually putting the layout together. Hey Barb, found a paper pad to work with you, yay! Aren't the pockets 4 inches wide though? Not 3 inches. Most are 3 by 4, so they're 3 across, 4, or 3 in the width and 4 in the height. So there are, for this album, I think it was asked, there are the pockets that are, and I might have to trim this down just slightly, 3 by 4 pockets. Oop. So you have your 3 by 4 pocket situation, back and front, okay? Then you have your pockets that are larger, your 4 by 8 1/4 or whatever size this is, okay? Which I think is like 4 to 8 1/4, I believe. Let me see. So in this album, you have a few sizes. Actually, this one is 4 1/4. It looks like. Yeah, 4 1/4. I'll have to trim that just slightly. Just slightly. There we go. Let me see if that worked. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. And this is by 8. Each manufacturer's pocket pages are going to vary. For Citrus Twist, this pocket looks to be 4 1/4 by 8. So it's a 1/4 wider than maybe some others. Let me go ahead and give you an example. So that's 4 1/4 by 8. Okay. Now, this may be different for other albums that are similar to this, or other page protectors that are similar. So you would trim your papers down based on the page protector that you're using. Okay. So 3 by 4, 4 1/4 by 8 for the Citrus Twist. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it, Gemma. Nope, it's all good. Okay. Thank you for asking that. Alrighty, so let's do, because I have 2 sheets of this, let's see, is that going to be, let's do a couple of 3. Now, one of the things I do want to mention is, depending on the pattern of your layout or your project, you want to be a little bit mindful of how you are cutting up your pages, because the pattern, you don't want the pattern to be off and you can't use the pattern, right? Okay, 4 by 6, 3 by 4, there we go. Because I've done that many a time, where I cut it a certain way and then the pattern is off. All right, let me get some, well, let's see, for this particular layout, we're not flying, so this is going to be an example of a pattern paper that I'm just going to leave as is, because we're not, it's not going to fit the theme of the layout, because we're not flying, we're driving, which is why I like this one here. Alrighty, I do like this pattern paper that has the states on it, so I'm going to do that one, 4 1/4 by 8. Because I love that. And then, let's see, can I do, is that going to be 4? Yeah. So let me do a couple of 3 by 4 pockets here. Yep, that measures out there. Cutting it up, right? Don't be scared to chompa. That's the technical word we use these days. Chompa. Now, if I wanted to cut this up and try to isolate a particular state, like this one says, like Arkansas right here, then I want to cut that out. So anywhere that, you know, meets the theme of my layout, I want to isolate that for sure. And since I don't want to waste this, we're going to go ahead and put that in that little stack. And then I have this piece left over. Okay. Now, am I going to cut up every single paper? No, because you never know in the process what you're going to use, right? I'm just cutting up enough to get me started. Let's go ahead and do this beautiful blue and white stripe. Gorgeous. This is one of those things too where you want to be mindful of the pattern. I'm doing a couple of 3x4 pocket cards here. It's going to be great to embellish. Let's go ahead and let's see, can we get a larger one done? Yep, we can. You may change your mind in the process, and that's cool too. You may say, oh, you know what? I'm going to do a bunch of 3x4s versus 4x6 in my pocket album. All right, that looks good. I'm going to keep my scraps because those can be used for something else. Okay. I like this map one, so this is something I'm definitely going to use in my travel one. What you have left over, you can designate for other projects, or just have it as surplus, right, for the project that you're working on. So for me, travel, I'll have a lot of these papers left over because clearly it's, you know, it's a travel notebook style album, so I'm not going to use every single last one of these pages, but I do want to coordinate the rest of the pages so I can use those maybe on other travel projects that I can later cut up or whatever. So I want to have some options down the road. Let's do a 4x6. Let's do a couple of those. Yes. All right, so we've got that set up. And this one, I think I want to cut down to just a few little 3x4s. Why not? So it's a pretty busy pattern. And this one, I can also fussy cut these arrows and I can use them for embellishments. So as you're going through your paper pad and you're deciding what papers you're going to cut up, at least for this purpose, if you're doing pocket layouts, then you're going to have to trim your papers down. 8.5 by 11, whatever it is that you're using, particularly pockets. You choose the style that you want to use for your project. You use the patterns that you want to use. Cut those up, get them ready. I love this camera one, so I definitely want to use that. I'm actually going to cut two 4 1/4 by 8-inch ones. And then let's do a couple of these 3x4s. There we go. Alrighty. I'm done with my blue. I want a little bit of green. So I still have a bunch of papers left that I can then coordinate into little paper packs if I want to, or have the surplus left over for the rest of my project. I like having choices, and I like using up my stuff. It's 3, yeah, let's do that. Trim that up. You can put on your favorite show on Netflix and go to town, right? Now, here's my thing, though. I only want to cut it up if I'm going to use it, right? I don't want to cut it up and just have it in my stash. I want to cut it up and it has an express plan for it. Here's another one that's going to be fun for traveling. There's a boat and a bus and a car and all those good things. Let's do a 4 1/4 by 8 on that one. That's really cute. And let's do a 4x6. This is where I want to be mindful of the pattern. Right? There we go. And you want to be mindful of the orientation of your pockets too, right? So if you have some that are vertical, you have some that are horizontal, you want to be mindful of that as well. Okay, so I got that stack, blues and pinks done. Still have a lot of pattern paper here that are going to be put into their own little kits for me to use. How long is this? Oop, not quite 8, so let's do, I love this design. Let's do a 4x6. And taking advantage of all these beautiful pattern papers, right? Why not? That's a little bit bigger. There we go. This one I've cut into already, so let's go ahead and get that trimmed down to a 3x4. Now, I hope you're playing along. If you are playing along, let me know, what paper pad are you deconstructing? Let me know in the comment section. What paper pad are you deconstructing? And if you have this paper pad, I hope it's giving you some ideas. I can't wait to get to the actual putting this layout, or putting these layouts together, right? Putting the album together. That's going to be a lot of fun. Now, here's another thing. If you keep to one paper pad or one theme of product, it takes the guesswork out of trying to decide what you're going to use for projects like these, right? So I knew when I saw this paper pad that I wanted to use it for some type of vacation that we may take at some point. And since we decided that we are, it worked perfectly for the theme. So I'm going to stick with this. I'm not going to probably pull in any other papers, but I am going to stick with this. And I'm only, again, selecting papers that I know I'm going to use. Like this airplane one I'm not going to use for this project because we're not flying. But it may work well on some other project. All right, so now I've gotten through my oranges, my blues, my greens. I'm almost done. I've got this one that I've cut into and used for a project. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one cut up. Let's do a large one for my large pockets. And let's do some 3x4s. Tell me, what paper pad are you working with? Still working, got my spreadsheet though, ready though. That's how you do it. Let's see, Park Lane Nautical. Ooh, that's a pretty one. The album has a vertical, I think they are all all vertical 4x6. And I believe. Using really, really old paper pad I've never used. K & Company, K Sarah Sarah. Ooh. I used to buy a lot of K & Company. Anybody else buy a ton of K & Company? I think they still sell K & Company in the scrapbooking stores. I haven't bought any in years. Okay, there's that. I have this piece left that I want to go ahead and cut up. What size is that? Nope, I thought I would be able to get a 4x6 out of that. I loved K & Company. It was the best. It is the best, I think. Alrighty. We're not on our vacation gonna do anything related to hot air balloons, but I'm gonna keep this in my stash for one reason. In Dallas, there's usually a hot air balloon festival. Well, in Plano, Texas. I think it's Plano, Texas. That they do a hot air balloon event, and I don't think they're going to have it this year. I don't believe, or it may have already happened. I can't remember. But I've been wanting to go to a hot air balloon event, and so I'm going to save it for that purpose because one day that's what we're going to do. I got my cameras. I'm going to save one of these sheets for fussy cutting, and then the other one I'm going to go ahead and cut up. Now, if you already know how many pages you're going to have for your project, then cut up enough paper or set aside enough paper for that project, right? But if you don't know, like me, I don't know how many pages I'm going to have for this album. I just want to cut up enough that I can work with, and I have some choices. I love this paper. I'm going to cup another large one, 4 1/4 by 8. And I'm taking off a teeny bit. It's going to be slightly less than 4 1/4 because the album pocket fits slightly less than 4 1/4. I love the cameras, right? They're so awesome. Yeah, I think they've changed too. I know there's some brands that I was super loyal to and they're no longer around. Okay. So part 1 done. I got all of these papers trimmed up for my project. Good to go. So now all I have to do when I get ready to put this together and prep the album is go through and put in some of these different papers into the pockets. Now here's the thing. You don't have to be married to any of this initially. So if you go through and you're setting up your album, like I'll go through and I'll pre-set up this album because it's one less thing that I have to do. And say, for instance, I want to change this out, this card out, then I'll just change it out. It's no big deal, right? I don't know what story is going to go where in the album yet. I just know that I kind of have an idea of how I want it to flow. But as my travel plans come together, then I might be a little bit more specific about how I want the layout to go. But I am going to go through and start filling in these pockets, right, with my pattern papers and kind of getting a feel of how I want it to be laid out. Now, as I'm doing this, I can change out the pattern paper, and when I sit down to actually do the project, then I can switch it up again if I want to, right? This is my project. I tell my project what to do, not the other way around. So here I have all of these gorgeous papers all cut up, ready to go. I've already made some selections, which are great. I can change my mind if I want to. And I'm all set, okay? Now, what happens to the rest of the papers? I have some scraps that I'm actually going to, I like to keep these large big old gallon bags, or they're larger than gallon rather. I think they're 14 by 14. I'm going to take all these scraps because you just never know when you're going to need a piece of scraps. These also will work well for other projects if I want to make a card, if I want to do anything else that's travel related. Some of these patterns are not necessarily specific to travel, but I'll keep all my scraps together with this with my kits, and so I'll make sure to use those. Whoops. Okay, so scraps will go in here. And then I have another plastic baggie that I'm going to put these in. Now, what about those other 12 by 12 papers? What am I going to do with those? Well, I'm going to go ahead, and since I don't know when we're going to be traveling after, this Arkansas trip, I'm going to go ahead and make some pattern paper kits out of this. And when I make a pattern paper kit, when I make pattern paper kits, and I used to do this a lot, they're kits where I've coordinated pattern paper that I can easily add embellishments to. So since I know this is travel themed, I'm going to go ahead and set up just a few of these little kits. I also know that, let's see here. So that if I'm working on other travel projects, then I can pull from these papers and I can just grab a little kit and go. So I'm just coordinating papers. So I have, let's see, this camera, this plane. I'm saving this, remember? So I'm not doing anything hot air balloon related. Let's grab a green. I want to have enough paper in here that I can make maybe 2 or 3 layouts from one of the little kits. Let's grab that, and let's grab this, okay? So that's one paper kit ready to go, and what I then can do is just add solid paper to this, right? I can add solid paper to this. I can add other type of textured papers, vellum, cork, or whatever to really round this out. And then I have these papers already coordinated that I can just pull, add some embellishments, and I'm good to go, okay? Or I can pull from it for my travel album if I need more paper. But at least I have them all coordinated and ready to go. And let me grab, let's see here, some little paper clips. And these will go in my stash for travel theme stuff. Okay, so that's one. Let's see how many more we can get out of this. Let's do a bike. Let's do this one. Let's add some green. Let's add that. And let's add this. So this is more road trippy type thing. So I have the states, the road signs, a green grid, and I'll put the little scrap piece there with that, something orange, and then my bikes. So I'm varying all the pattern papers, something that will work as a good solid base for me, other things that'll work if I want a fussy cut or layer. It's all there. Okay, all coming from one paper pad. I'm not having to coordinate anything else other than what's in this paper pad. Okay, I'm actually going to put this one here. And if we do another road trip, then I already have some papers selected that I can use to document the road trip. So that's two. I can add some embellishments with that and keep it moving. Let's see what else we got here. This one here, again, I'll probably just keep that in my stash because maybe one day we'll go to London, Paris, or Rome. And then I have these. So that could be for future. We do have international travel plans, so, or goals. So I like this little ticket, different airports, which this airplane paper coordinates well with that. So I'm going to take that, okay? So you see what I'm doing here? Let's grab this one. Let's grab a grid. Let's grab a map. Look at that. That's about 5 pages for each little page kit. So this is going to be another good one, particularly if I'm flying. Look how fun that is. So I already have that ready to go. I'm going to put this at the front. So I have a road trip one. I've got one for flight, which Corinne's never flown. So it's going to be her first time flying next year when we go to Disney World, if we go to Disney World. Let's do another one. Some pink. I'm almost done, guys, because I'm using those using the little ticket pattern paper. I'm going to throw in the airplane. I've also got some little grids here. And let's throw in one of my favorites. And I'm going to add just a little bit more to this one because the only papers I have left are these. So I'm going to kind of spread this out just a little bit. So I'm going to add a little bit more pink to this one. And this one. So this would probably be good for at least 2 or 3 layouts. So there's another one. It does look like Midwest states for sure. Okay, so I got myself another kit, paper pad kit. Now remaining, I have the camera, pink and stripe, bicycle, airplane, and the arrows. So I could probably do something with that, right? I love this little color combination with a bit of pink in there. So that one's good. So I can just grab this and make a project. Put some embellishments with it, I'm good to go. The only thing I have left are these scraps out of that. So I'm going to put that in my scrap bag because you never know. Here we go. And with that, I was able to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern paper based kits, and the only thing I have to do is add some embellishments. I'm good to go. And then I've got 1 kit that I'm put together for my travel album. Okay, so how am I going to use this? Well, you know I'm going to use this for the album, and then if I need to pull from any of the rest of these papers that I've coordinated together, I will. But these other ones are going to go, they're going to stay here with my travel theme stuff, because I can then go back and scrapbook previous travels that we've had. Like I have a Colorado trip that I need to document, San Antonio trip, lots of other trips that I want to document. So now I have these page kits good to go, and all I have to do is whatever travel elements that I'm using for my pocket, I can then use some of those elements for the other trips that I want to go on. Okay? So there we have it. Part 1 of deconstructing this 12 by 12 paper pad. This is going to go in my stash because I don't have a use for these two right now. And then of course I have my scraps that I'll use during the process. This paper pad is deconstructed. Alrighty. So questions, make sure you post them in the comments section. I'm going to go ahead and look at the questions in the comments. Let me go back. Can you do this? Absolutely. You can totally do this. Carol says there are 5 colors in the albums. Carol, I think you're talking about the Citrus Twist, right? 5 colors in the albums. The rest are sold out. The 2x2 pocket pages are sold out. Okay, so it looks like there might be some of the things that are sold out. Make sure that I believe there's an option where you can be notified when things come back into stock. So make sure that you do that. Also keep in mind that there are there's been a lot of slowdown in the manufacturing process for certain things, so it may take them longer to get their albums and stuff in, or their products in. I love the colors of the paper here. Yeah, the divided ones are narrower than the 4. Yeah, absolutely. Uh-oh, Tammy had to go do dishes. Boo. Hey, Debbie from New Zealand. Hey, Robin. I think there's a Heidi swap pad begging for this. We'll also totally work on my one little word theme. Oh, yeah. Love it when you can marry different designers. I agree. So satisfying to watch, right? It's satisfying to cut up papers and to organize them and to get them all ready to go. I agree. Very satisfying process. Jen says, woo, Colorado. Yes, we went to Colorado in 2016.
Hi, guys, I'm here.
Oh, Corinne's here. Corinne says hi.
I think it was 2016.
I think it was 2016 we went to Colorado.
All of Cool Mermaids.
Yeah.
And they would have been stinking.
So I think we drove to Colorado, so there's a lot of little icons and themes in this one that I think would work well for a road trip, for sure. Jen says, hi, sweetie.
Hi.
Corinne is working on a card for her friend.
The envelope for a card.
Oh, an envelope for a card.
Yeah, I don't have to send this one because we're thinking of going and see her, drop off the social distance quick thing.
That's probably wise.
So I can go all out. Harry Potter theme here.
Yeah. Cindy says, awesome, perfect for your travels. P.S. I love the hot air balloons. I love the hot air balloons too. Oh yeah, she's the boss of the show for sure. What is the company made the paper pad? Yes, this is World Traveler by My Mind's Eye. And I found this at Tuesday Morning. I'm not sure if it's still available in regular scrapbooking stores, but you can definitely have a look around. Everyone say hello, Corinne.
Hi.
Corinne says howdy. So, I highly recommend, I'm going to challenge you to grab a 12 by 12, a 6 by 8, a 6 by 6, whatever paper pads you have, and deconstruct it. But don't deconstruct it just to deconstruct it. Deconstruct it to have a purpose for it. So this is all travel related, so I know that I can use this for my travel layouts. Let's see, watered the garden, did the recycling, got laundry going, carried you around, but couldn't really participate. Doing chores, no problem with that. Let's see. Dahlia says, do you find it difficult to scrapbook older trips? I'm doing some older travels and don't remember anything. Somewhat. Like, there are details that I want to make sure that I remember out of trips, and so I try to journal at least. But I think for me, the photos kind of bring back some of the details, but I do struggle, depending on how long ago the trip was. Like, there's one trip I took almost 10 years ago that I want to document, and I don't remember every single detail. So I just try to focus on the main gist of the project. So yeah, I struggle with that too. Jen says, I really feel like I'm watching a scrapbooking star right now with all your recent accomplishments. You're so sweet. Thank you so much. It has been a whirlwind of excitement around here, and things are starting to slow down just a little bit, which I'm glad. Things are starting to slow down just a tiny bit, so I can breathe just a little bit, at least for the next few weeks. When Hubs retires, we're hoping to visit more North America. Yes, I think everybody, particularly if you are a U.S. citizen, if you're able to be able to experience traveling throughout the U.S., because there's just so many great things here in the U.S. for sure. We want to travel all over the place. We're having a serious case of wanderlust right now. We want to be able to get out and see the world. We're disappointed we won't be able to go to Disney World for our second trip, at least not this year. And we knew that we wanted to go somewhere. So Hot Springs it is. For those of you who are just joining me, I'm putting together a kit where I can document our upcoming vacation to Hot Springs, Arkansas. And I'm using this Traveler's Notebook size album from Citrus Twist. It measures 6 1/4, or what did I say? Yeah, 6.5 by 9 1/4. So there we go. Yes, I just got Never Grow Up by Shamil. Not sure if I want to deconstruct it. Oh, totally do it. That's a great collection. That is a fantastic collection. Absolutely. Love how you attacked that pad. Yay, I still have some issues cutting paper without a layout in mind. Yeah, I think having some idea of what type of project you want to do versus just cutting it up, because before I would cut up a bunch of papers and stuff and then I would have no idea what I want to do with them, and then eventually I would just let it go or give it away. And at least I know that this is definitely going to be used for documenting my travels. Then I know that I'll get it used up. So this has a purpose, and I'm okay with cutting up the papers because I know it's for an express purpose. But any other time, I typically won't cut it up just to cut it up. So very good point. Barb says our plan was the world before we retired, U.S. after retirement. Now retired and too much still on the bucket list. Lots of bucket list items, yeah. Britta says you're so decisive. I'm jealous. I take forever to make a decision. And that, folks, is why I'm a slow scrapper. Hey, you go at your own pace. And if it takes you a little bit longer to make decisions, then, this process is supposed to be fun and relaxing. Depending on the type of projects that I'm working on, sometimes I make really, really fast decisions, particularly if it's projects that I'm getting paid to do, my contract projects, or stuff for my business. If it's personal, I like to kind of slow down the process just a little bit and kind of enjoy it a little bit more and still decisive, because there was a point where it would take me forever to make decisions about stuff, but I do make decisions pretty quickly. On the main walking street, there is an awesome alcove between buildings. That's a lovely fountain, a cooling spot that if it's yeah, I saw that in someone's YouTube video recently about hot springs. So yeah, love it. All right, folks, I got a little bit after 3 o'clock. I hope that you were inspired to take a paper pad, dedicate it to a project, deconstruct it. Next Friday, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in some embellishments and figure out kind of how I want this album to sort of be laid out. And then the week after that, I'll go ahead and start setting up the album a little bit. You'll kind of see a bit of that process. I do want to save a little bit of that for some process videos down the road, but you'll be able to see the initial setup. And I'll talk about how I'm going to approach this project. We were very, very nervous about traveling during COVID. And we're super nervous about it. And we figured that you still, I guess, have to live your life and figure out how to live your life in the midst of the pandemic. And want to travel very safely, keep our distance as much as possible, wear our mask, bring our cleaning supplies, try to eat on the road as much as we can, try to limit indoor exposure, try to be outdoors mostly. But we definitely need to get away. Bree and I have been working super hard over the past few months, and it's time for a break for sure. Aubrey Calvin is in there in the comments section. Don't go to hot springs, go to mild winter. Oh my god.
Mild winter?
Aubrey.
Positive.
Someone recommends Fat Bottom Girls cupcakes in hot springs. We'll have to try that.
What about cupcakes?
Yes, Aubrey, I'm going on our family vacation too. She says, you're going too? Thought it was just me and Rennie. Ha ha ha.
Puffy, be nice.
Rennie says, be nice, Puffy. Have an awesome trip. We're going camping next week. Oh, you have an awesome trip too. Definitely looking forward to unplugging for sure. Aubrey, you're going to be booted out the comment section. Barb says, definitely have cabin fever. Of course. Of course. I was really hoping that we could take Mom, but Mom's high risk, and so she's just going to be home. We're going to do something local when we get back. Bree, comment on your podcast, by the way. Etanine says, good podcast. Yes, so many photo ops, Tammy. I'm looking forward to it. Did not know that Hot Springs was literally gangster's paradise. Did not know that until we start researching Hot Springs. So I'm looking forward to the Gangster Museum. It sounds a lot of fun. Yes, definitely time to get out and about, Carol. Absolutely, and do it safely. Yeah, definitely. It's different planning a vacation than normal when you have to think of all the safety precautions. Yeah, lots of good safe plans. I think we'll be okay. And we're only there for 3 days. So it's not going to be very long. We're going to hop in the car, drive, spend about 3 full days, and then hop back in the car and come on home. But it's going to be nice to get away. Carol listened to the podcast too, Bree, and liked it. Awesome. By the way, Bree and one of her colleagues, India, started a podcast called Southern Queries, which is looking at the LGBT community in the South. So if that's something you guys are interested in, if you go to iTunes or if you just Google Southern Queries, you'll be able to find the podcast. And it's fantastic. It's a long-term goal that she's had, and it's come to fruition. So there we go. Go check it out. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign off for this live. I'm going to see you next Friday. Hopefully next Friday you'll be able to see my face. So I'm sorry about that little technical difficulty. I hope you're inspired to work with a paper pad, deconstruct it. If you are, head on over to the Victoria Marie Facebook group. The links are posted in the description. This will be recorded, of course, and it'll be available if you want to come back and watch it. I am really excited about this project. We haven't been on vacation, and I guess about 2 years. We bought a house almost 2 years ago, so we didn't go anywhere other than to visit relatives in Oklahoma. But I'm excited about putting this album together, and I'm excited about this particular size and maybe committing to doing more travel albums in this size. So you guys will see this come together. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. I'll see you next Friday. Same bat time, same bat channel, 2:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, it's recorded so you can come back and watch it at any time. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.